أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وصلى اللهم على محمد رسول الله وعلى أهل بيته أولياء الله لا سيما بقية الله واللعن على أعدائهم أعداء الله إلى يوم لقاء الله. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا نتمتع فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So we need three major things to be able to understand religion. First one, of course, we need jurisprudence. There is no scholar who is a mujtahid can be a mujtahid with knowing only usool and fundamentals without knowing fiqh. And how he can what? Using those tools to extract information of our religion and narrations. So even if somebody is very strong in usool and fundamentals and he's very smart, as long as he doesn't know substantial amount of our masail Islami in different and multiple topics, so trading, leasing, marriage contracts, praying, Hajj and things, that he won't be considered as a mujtahid. The second thing that we need to know, so I'm not talking about Arabic, things like that, that's very obvious. The second thing, there is something called al-qawa'id al-fiqhiyah, jurisprudential fundamental. And one of the differences between fundamentals and usul and jurisprudential fundamental, that sometimes jurisprudential fundamental, sometimes, not always, can be applied in certain topics. So in Bab al-Tahara, for instance, كل شيء لك طاهر. Everything would be considered as tahir for you unless if you know that it's najis. Can you use that in marriage? No. It's nonsense. Okay? أو المرأة لا تسأل عن عدتها. You don't need to question and interrogate a lady if she says that I'm willing to marry you. Are you in iddah? You don't need to do that. Can you use that in Bab al-Tahara? No. You got me? So, one of the different, but there are some other differences as well. Some very accurate scholars say that we're not going to go into that detail. We don't need. And these classes are not meant actually to go that much detail and narrow inshallah. Anyway, and the third thing are usul. We need usul to understand the gist of our religion as well. Without usul, we cannot understand the gist of our religion. So whether it's istishab, whether it's, asalatul bara'a, whether it's asalatul hadr, whether it's rules how we can, combine between two narrations that we see they might be contradicting each other and etc. التعادل والتراجيح والتزاحم those قواعد, we need that as well. So what should we do in this, I think, intensive course? Other than fiqh, this is exactly what we are doing. So far I think today was the 21st class of Shia jurisprudence, other than jurisprudential verses. I think it was number 21. So now we're going to move to another topic. Probably we're going to go to Bab al-Salat, Bab al-Hajj, whatever. probably Bab Salat, something. So some places that we have more narrations. In trading, it's more about rules. In Salat and Hajj, it's more about narrations, not rules. And it has a cause behind it, because with trading we have wisdom. Usually Islam says whatever you do is right unless if I say it's wrong. But if you want to worship Allah, you have to worship Him in a way that He tells you, according to what He says.
But which one would have more qawa'id? Would Salah have more qawa'id or Mu'amalat have more qawa'id? What is it saying?
No, in Salat we have too many qawa'id. قاعدة لا تعاد, قاعدة, too many قواعد. But in trading, قواعد are more useful because we have less narrations. But in Salat we have too many قواعد as well. قاعدة لا تعاد. It's very important قاعدة. لا تعاد الصلاة إلا من 5. من طهور وقبلة وكذا وكذا وكذا. And لا صلاة إلا بفاتحة الكتاب. In Hajj you go الطواف بالبيت صلاة. So too many قواعد we have, whether it's in Hajj, Salat, Tahara, whatever. كل شيء لك طاعة. This is قاعدة. So anyway, so we need usul. We need some usul in this course. So we need to understand at least narrations of usul. They are not that much. May Allah elevate his status. Said Abdullah Shubbar has a book called Al-Usool al-Asila. It's substantial. I can remember it was printed, very old prints, very uneven, hard to read. And I have that print. Once I went to my uncle's house in Karbala. I saw that he has that. I borrowed it while I was in Karbala. I read it all. Read all of it. It's a good book. It's only narrations, but it's useful. It's useful. One of the things I can remember. أقل الجمع. What is أقل الجمع? Plural. أقل الجمع. In Arabic they say 3. But according to our narrations 2. أقل الجمع 2. اي احسنت بس بالعربي شنو 3 مو 2 اي المثنى ذاك. For instance, somebody said كثير. I made another to give كثير bread to poor people. They went to Imam, said Imam كثير. Allah mentioned كثيرة and then it was 70. So 70 people. Something like that. So Ahl al-Bayt use Quran to understand what does kathir means, and etc. Okay? Or for instance, the story of Prophet Ayub and خذ كذا ولا تحنث ضغثا لا تحنث. What is ضغث? 100. So we have, it's Bab al-Alfaz, we have in Quran and narrations explanation for that as well. Yeah, and etc. For instance, somebody came to maybe Ma'mun and told him, okay, this person has stolen. Where should we cut his hand from, or which part? One said the hand, one said arm. Imam said no. وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ. Because you pray, you put here, you're not allowed to cut that. And etc. So too many narrations can be, too many ahkam can be understood from some usul, whether it's usul lafdiyya or usul amaliyya and etc. So we need to understand and have general knowledge of usul. As Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, عَلَيْنَا إِلْقَاءُ الْأُصُولِ وَعَلَيْكُمُ التَّفْرِيعِ. It's upon us to give you the fundamentals, and you can use those fundamentals to understand the branches. Somebody came, Muhammad ibn Muslim went to Imam Salamullahi alayhi and told him, Yabna Rasulillah, I injured my toe finger, and a bandage is on it. How can I perform wudu? What Imam replied? إن هذا وأمثاله يعرف من كتاب الله. This and anything that is similar to that can be understood from where? The Book of Allah. Where do we have a Book of Allah talking about if your finger's been injured and a bandage on it, how to perform wudu? No. ما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج. There is no harsh, no suffer in our religion for you. Then Imam told him, امسح عليه ما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج. So it's very general rule. This is the qaida. And Imam taught Zurara or Muhammad ibn Muslim how to use it. The same thing can be applied for ghusl. The same thing can be applied for too many other things. Too many other things. For instance, they bring that, scholars. Somebody went as a guest to a place, and he slept there, and he needed to go and to take a shower, and he shies. I mean, جاي ضيف يمهم كذا. What should he do? Some scholars said, no, لا حياء في الدين, let him go. Some scholars said, no. If it really hurts him, he gets really, really embarrassed, he can do tayammum. بدل الغسل. لا حرج. Why? Because لا حرج. And I've heard that of some of my great scholars and great teachers.
So just do tayammum instead.
Listen, اكو واحد وجه تشينكو ما يهمه، هذا لا بيروح. بس واحد بس صدق يعني عنده فرد حاله يخجل كذا شيء، بعض العلماء ما يقبل، بس البعض يقول يصير. قصدي يصير. هنا يبين المشارب المختلفة والمباني المختلفة. أنا قصدي شنو؟ قصد.
It's also personal status as well.
Yeah, exactly. Personal state as well. Status. So, what I'm trying to say, we need to know those rules. So لا حرج, لا ضرر. Although it's قاعدة فقهية, this is one. But they mention, because it's very important قاعدة, that's why they bring it in usul. Although it's قاعدة فقهية. لا ضرر ولا ضرار في الإسلام. Which means Islam doesn't have any legislation that harm people. That may harm people in general. لا ضرر ولا ضرار في الإسلام. It's a big debate between Sheikh al-Na'ini and Sheikh al-Sharia about the meaning of that. Because Sheikh al-Sharia says, لا ضرر means you're not allowed to harm anyone. Sheikh al-Na'ini said, Allah said, the Prophet said, in Islam, means Allah won't harm you. Not that you're not allowed to harm anyone. Obviously you're not allowed to harm anyone. But Sheikh al-Sharia was a very, very famous scholar, but our scholars from Sayyid al-Khoyi, say Sheikh al-Na'ini before Sayyid al-Khoyi, and etc., they don't accept the theory of Sheikh al-Sharia. Anyway, so that qaida, I can remember my teacher taught us that qaida, yarhamkumullah, for 1 year in Mashhad. Ayatollah Sheikh Mahdi Murwad. A whole year about a single sentence, لا ضرر ولا ضرار في الإسلام. A whole year. So,
Is it up to the faqih to decide where the law to come from?
sometimes yes, sometimes no. With usul, there is a problem. Okay, it says, it's a challenge. They say, عوام الناس cannot understand fiqh. And faqih is not mubtala with this mas'ala. So how he can use this mas'ala to give fatwa to those عوام الناس? They solve that problem. Yani this is a peanuts for scholars to solve such problems. Wallahi, our scholars, I felt that. Their mind works like a sweet's watch. That's how accurate it is. would never ever a philosopher can reach them. Never ever. Yani bring the most, sophisticated philosophical mind and compare it with Ayatollah al-Khoyi, no comparison. With Ayatollah Sistani, no comparison. They are much more advanced. Sayyid Sistani and Sayyid Khoyi, much more advanced. Much more advanced. Why adaq?
Is it because of the studies that they do?
It's because they take the religion of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, not upon their smartness or things like that. They understand the qawad. As Sayyid Khoyi says, so he brings a qa'ida, he says, al-wahid la yasdum min al-wahid. He said, this is a philosophical qa'ida. What that should do in our religion.
What's the qa'ida?
الواحد لا يصدر منه إلا الواحد. يقول هذا الآن في الطبيعيات ولا ربط له بالشريعة.
It's useless.
Useless. Totally useless. Of course, Al-Khoyi was one of the scholars that he was really, really against philosophy. Really. One of the reasons because he was the student of Shaykh al-Na'ini. And Shaykh al-Na'ini in Hawza is considered as a scholar who brought new ideas. Actually, he brought more new ideas compared to Sayyid al-Khoyi in Usool. And as a matter of fact, I really, really like him. How he thinks, how accurate he is, etc. So anyway, let's not get dragged from our point. So we need to understand some qawa'id. قاعدة لا حرج, قاعدة لا ضرر. Although لا حرج is probably some sort of usul. لا ضرر is قواعد فقهية. And for instance, one of the قواعد الفقهية. اليد أمارة الملكية. Something, if you have something in your hand, this is an indication that you own it. Correct? اليد أمارة الملكية. This is قاعدة. We need to know it. No. Have you seen those who احنا نقول لهم شوية على أساس مقدس يريد يبيع فتش يقول منو قال هذا مالتك؟ شنو منو قال بيدي؟ شنو منو قال مالتي؟ عرفت؟ وسواس عندهم يهلوسون. بيدي هذا شنو؟ هسه مرة ألماس تريد تشوف كذا ليكون مبيوك شيء بس مرة بيدي شنو هذا؟ النظارة منو قال هاي النظارة مالتك؟ مال منو ولا هذا؟ بيدي وأنا أخليه على عيني رقم عيني. يعني مثلا أريد أقول يعني. So too many قواعد. If we understand those قواعد, as some scholars say, we would be able to understand religion much better. Much better. So when you hear a mas'ala fatwa of مثلا one of the scholars, sometimes you'd be able to say, oh, why this fatwa is like this? Why?
Yeah, I'm just about to ask why do we have to?
You don't have to.
The rules and
You don't have to.
Usool, yeah,
But if you want to
be,
to know the depth of religion, you need to.
yeah, that's good.
Even if you don't want to be a scholar, but to know the depth of religion, of course you
It's
need
taught
to.
in Hawza, yeah?
Naam?
Taught in Hawza?
Yeah, of course, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all different.
But is that hard? I think I've heard
It's a
tough
major-
subjects.
Usul?
Yeah.
It is.
Major,
But probably it's not harder than being a pilot.
so to boiling. It's no auto scholar here.
Yeah.
No auto fatwa.
So one of the things that, for instance, they bring in Usul, just to show you the sophistication of this topic. It's not bad to tell you this story. They say a narration won't give you knowledge because you're not hearing that narration from Imam directly. You heard somebody, hearing somebody, hearing somebody, hearing somebody, hearing somebody, somebody until it reaches Imam. Okay? So that won't bring knowledge to you. You're not hearing Imam himself telling you that. So what is it? It's one possibility. Why should I follow possibility in my faith and religion and a'mal? Shaykh al-Na'ini comes and explains that very well. What he says? He says when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا, that anything that is doubtful cannot suffice you. Because it's not haqq. Haqq is obvious. Thus, we cannot say that narrations are dhann. Because you cannot say that anything which is doubtful cannot suffice you from haqq, but narration. How come? Okay? You're not allowed, for instance, to follow any doubt but this doubt. How come I'm following this doubt? You know? All doubt. That's why, say, Shaykh al-Na'ini says, no, narrations, our narrations, are not doubt, are not 50-50. Shara al-Muqaddas, Islam considered narrations as knowledge. We know that narration are not knowledge, not 100%, but because the vast majority of our narrations would reach the point and hit the target. That's why Islam considered narrations as knowledge, as ilm, as information. So when I follow narrations, I'm not following doubtful things. It's something else. And then, till now. Now somebody came, a turban guy, unfortunately, and said, according to Sayyid al-Khoi's methodology in doing tasheeh to narrations and chains and things, there is no obvious evidence that Imam al-Zaman was born. Because according to his methodology, Sayyid al-Khoi has only 4 or 5 narrations, sahih, that says that Imam al-Zaman was born. Whether I accept his claim or not, that's another story, because I think he's a liar. And then he says that, so, I can prove that for you, but Sayyid al-Khoi cannot believe that Imam al-Zaman was born. Because what he made in Usool cannot be what? Rely upon in accepting that Imam al-Zaman was born, because it's aqeedah. And in aqeedah you have to be 100% certain. Ilm. Again, he's a liar. I've heard Sayyid al-Khoi with these ears saying that because he accepts what Sayyid Shaykh al-Na'ini says, that narrations نزل منزلة العلم are considered by the progeny of the Prophet and the Prophet himself as knowledge. So if you follow a single narration, you are following a knowledge, not dhann. Thus, Sayyid al-Khoi says in his Usool, and I've heard him saying that because I've listened to his lessons, voice lessons, وبناء على ذلك يجوز الاعتقاد بالخبر الواحد لأنه نازل منزلة العلم ولا يعد ذلك تقليدا أو اتباعا للظن لأن الخبر الواحد علم. So it's the mixture that guy did. According to Sayyid al-Khoi himself, he says, I can. So don't accuse Sayyid al-Khoi that with the rule that you have in Usool, you cannot believe that Imam al-Zaman was born. Because he can, a single narration would do the job for him, because he would consider that single narration as a knowledge. And not doubtful information.
It doesn't have to be mutawatir for...
It doesn't have, exactly. Sayyid al-Khoi says it doesn't have to be mutawatir for i'tiqad. This is the mabna of Sayyid al-Khoi and mabna of Shaykh al-Na'ini. And when I'm talking about Sayyid al-Khoi, it's not okay, this is Sayyid al-Khoi. No, this is not Sayyid al-Khoi. This is Sayyid al-Khoi. That all scholars that we have now, Maraja, If they are marja, they are marja because of him. You got me? So what I'm trying to say, so see how they come, they really يتعبون نفسهم to give us an information that we can benefit of. So this all relies upon usul. So inshallah we're going to have a class about usul. So probably, I don't know, 30, 40 lessons about usul. Not going to take it that deep, but just to understand the gist of usul as well, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi tayyibin.
اللهم صل على محمد